you know, I'm a Spirit Breaker fan.
Yeah.
Kind of watch some Spirit Breaker.
Yeah.
He's pretty fun.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
I
So we're
can't see
gonna
any.
download that replay.
So, how long have you guys been playing Dota?
Oh, I
About
started in
5-6
about
months.
6 months.
me about 7 months.
Oh, so you guys just came in from Dota 2. I liking it. Did you switch from a different game?
Exactly.
Played it.
Yeah, we
We
were
were
playing
mostly on the Xbox, huh?
mostly on the Xbox. Xbox is now sitting in a cupboard gathering dust.
Oh, so you didn't come from like League or Han or anything?
No, no, this is our first MOBA.
Oh, okay. Well, this is probably gonna be the only one because these games take too much time.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so we're just gonna go into the picks. I'm just gonna... Stupid spectator thing. I'm just gonna speed up. When I guys mentioned something, I'll be on the time based on the replay bar, okay? Not like the in-game time. Is that okay?
Gotcha, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm just gonna fast forward to when these picks actually go through. Alright. Alright, right now I'm...
Trying to restart so quick.
Sorry?
Prepare for battle.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. I'm just getting an item to restart it quickly. Downloading it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No problem. This can just take me some time. So what roles do you usually like to play? I guess, start with Sean.
I usually mix it up a bit. I mean, I've got no real preference for carry or support. Both Oz and I, sometimes when we play most of our pub games, we kind of sometimes wait until the other guys have picked their heroes to make sure that we pick a balanced team to increase chances of winning. So, you know,
Right.
I think I've played my 50% carry, 50% support. I've got no real preference for either role.
What about Oz?
Gankers as well, things like that.
Yeah, no. The bulk of the time I'm playing Warlock, so yeah, and more of a support role than anything.
So you're the Lina in this game?
But yeah, yeah, I was the leaner in that game.
That's right, and I was the Spirit Breaker.
Right. So right now, just to start off, your item builds do look good. Not too sure why your wards are in the stash, but I think you're gonna get it delivered to you right now. Yeah, I think you noticed that the wards are on the stash, and you're gonna get it delivered. I think.
Yeah, there was actually a bit of a.
Oh,
I
this
think
is...
forgot
I
to
can
add
tell.
the
This
stash.
is...
Yeah, I know. There was. I know. It was yeah. My bad.
Interesting engagement, but he did reveal himself. So right now you're doing mid-cell...
When you do these replays,
Sorry?
BBallin, when you do these replays, is the best camera mode here the free camera?
Yeah, free camera is usually the best camera.
Free camera.
But I'll
Okay.
go to player's perspective sometimes as well, just to see how you guys are clicking, you know, movements and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So since the Lina is mid, this is an interesting item build to start off mid, since I assume this is a pub game, you guys don't really know what's going on. So you got the courier, you got the wards. You don't have the wards in with you, but usually with the mid, I mean, if you can help it, you can get the courier, but you don't really want to get the wards, as you won't really find that good of an opportunity to place them right off the beginning, because in the usual pub game it will usually take you like 30 to 45 seconds to say, alright, what hero should I pick, what item should I go, which lane should I go, just because there is sort of a lack of communication. So that's going to be a bit annoying for you, because there gets a Drow who can do a lot of harassment, and you don't really have that much in terms of sustainability, and without the bottle, I mean, Lina's mana spells are quite cheap, so you can spam and push the waves to get easy access to the rune, but still, her attack animation is really bad, so it is going to be a bit more difficult last hitting. So I guess the opening thing for this is that for the mid roll, you don't usually want to get items that you really can survive without in the mid lane. So you want to get maybe a couple points of regen, maybe a couple stat items, but you want to get that bottle up ASAP, and the later the bottle is delayed, the worse off you're going to be.
Sure, I don't think I had a bottle.
What time
Yeah.
are you watching on right now? On the replay bar.
440. I just paused it. My bad.
Okay, I'm just gonna go to
Okay.
440 quickly.
I think we had a bit of an issue. No one wanted to go mid, based on the team, and everyone I think was melee, and I was down your range.
Right, so that
That's
makes
how I landed up.
yeah, that makes more sense because, you know, as a sport, you usually pick up the wards and the courier, which is obviously the correct thing to do, and then you're just like, oh shit, what do I do now? I have to go mid.
Okay, I'm on 440 now.
Alright, I'm gonna unpause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. So, right now, I mean, the lane, it's going pretty well. Lena's attack animation is a little bit awkward, but Drow is going to be a big an issue, but she's missing some attacks because it is uphill, and she's not really playing this that well. And you are making the right move backing off. Drow does too much damage, so don't really want to risk too much. I'm usually a very sort of low risk player unless I'm playing certain heroes, and usually in the mid lane the point is to just never die. In the early stages of the game the main goal is to not die, because if you're dying that means you're not getting experience, you're not getting levels, and experience is what matters in the early game because you want to get those levels up ASAP. So you can try to go for kills, but I think the most important thing, especially for a newish player, is just to not die. So that should be your main goal, just to not die whatsoever.
Right.
So on the top lane, Spirit Breaker, 2 points in the Greater Bash. This is interesting because Spirit Breaker...
I made a mistake. Yeah, I absolutely... and as soon as I clicked on that when I started the game, I said to Oz, oh my god, I can't believe I've done that. It should have gone... I should have picked up my skills differently.
I mean, it's not the biggest deal. Spirit Breaker is one of those heroes who can be very flexible, and if you max Greater Bash by level 7, which I don't know if you're going to do in this game or not, you will get that bit of extra damage for your ultimate, because it does give you that move speed percentage, because you always get a Greater Bash. But the fact of the matter is that the bash chance remains the same at every level, so there are arguments for it and against it.
Yeah.
Now, personally, this is just me, and, you know, Spirit Breaker isn't really a competitive hero, but personally, I like to leave 1 point of charge, because even though the stun scales, the cooldown doesn't scale, and I think the cooldown is usually most important in the early game. So you just want to sort of get your other skills maxed up. The extra moon speed and the extra damage for bash helps me, but I can definitely understand because the stun duration for the charge definitely can help out quite a bit. So it's really up to personal preference. Spirit Breaker is just a weird hero because the move speed doesn't really make that big of a difference. The stun duration does, but the duration only increases by 1.2 if you do max it out first. So that's just something to think about.
Yeah.
Alright, Lena, 720 gold. No bottle just yet. Now, at this point, since you are a mid lane hero, you do have the wards on the map, so or the wards in your stash. If you picked up a bottle right about now and starts pushing out the waves, you could get easier access to the runes and just really start going to work. Try to control the runes, really force Drow in a very disadvantageous position, because you know what Drow is going to do. Drow is not going to gank. Drow is going to stay in her lane, and when Drow's staying in her lane, that means you can take engagements 3v2 and try to force down the other lanes when you're Lena.
Sure.
So yeah, mid lane with the spammable spell nuker, you want to get the bottle up, and then just start spamming the spells. Like, of course you want to get the last hits, but just spamming the spells relentlessly with the mana regen will be very useful. And of course, I don't know why you still have the wards in your stash, not gonna lie. Should have had it shipped up towards you.
And Drow's just got the double damage rune.
Yeah, you guys are gonna work on Ogre on the top lane. And it's a pretty difficult lane to kill, Ogre Enchantress, because Enchantress, 2 points into healing, stats, and Ogre got a point of Bloodlust. But yeah, the basic thing for middle lane is to have that bottle spam on the creep wave. Nice kill right there. Drow got cocky with the double damage. Good recognition by the Treant to give you that living armor. That was pretty useful.
Yeah, he played a great game. He was all over the map. He was helping us out.
Ooh, Spirit Breaker diving in. Nice. Good recognition on that as well. Enchantress cooldown on the heal is quite high, and I think he just noticed that, okay, you know, now's a good time. I'm Spirit Breaker, I don't give a fuck. He's level 3, I'm level 5, I can go in and own him. Alright, you got him skilled here. Alright, you got the skill. can I ask what hotkey setup you use?
Sure, it's Sean here. I used the Q, W, E, R as my 4 main skills. I've got D and I've also got T as well. Tab for other heroes, and I've got in my inventory I've got 2 buttons on my mouse assigned to my first 2 inventory slots, and the space bar as my 3rd slot.
Okay.
Yeah,
Invisibility.
pretty similar. I think I use DF and C in space. Tab to select myself, F1 for courier, F2 to put the courier to bring stuff to me. Yeah.
It's just something I was noticing because when I saw Spiritbreaker level up the ultimate, he manually clicked the ultimate. I mean, honestly, that doesn't make it the biggest difference, but it's still, like, every bit does happen. But good recognition by the Lina coming in to gank. Good easy kill. And Enchantress probably will survive. But yeah. So you went for a Gauntlet of Strength. Are you going to build Bracers or Drum? Usually for Lina, for a heavy spellcaster, I think Drums is really good on Spiritbreaker because he wants a bit of extra mana. He has 2 spells, but those spells are quite mana intensive, and you don't necessarily want to go back to base too often. Lina Bracer can help in terms of HP, but again, you just really want that mana regen, because Laguna Blade, as you very well saw, is just so expensive in terms of mana. And right now, it's just, I don't know, it's just, in the mid lane you should always get a bottle, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I think I used my very first bottle yesterday. So, yeah, I haven't really been using a bottle either.
Yeah, I mean, even though in pubs you don't usually want to bottle crow too often because the courier is sort of a precious resource that people will get angry for you if you abuse it too much. The fact of the matter is, with Spamville skills, you can easily push out the wave, get rune control. You got the wards, you place them, good stuff. Now at this point in the game for a Spiritbreaker, when ult's up and when your charge is up as well, I think you should just try to go out for a gank whenever possible, especially against this pretty squishy lineup. I mean, Puck, Razor, and Drow are not very that tank, but right now you can't really see them. But now you're going to go in for Drow. Drow is pretty much boned. Yep, easy kill. Good recognition right there. I like how you switch to Tread's Intel as well to give you a bit of extra mana. That's really, really useful. I think that's actually something I personally had trouble with for quite a while, just because I play on a Mac for the longest time, and Mac you don't usually get hotkeys. I played Dota 1 a lot, and with Mac you don't really have the hotkey setup. But yeah, I mean, you played that really, really well. I can't really say anything else different. You Tread switched. I mean, you got the Intel Treads for maximum mana efficiency. If you want to be super pro, which honestly I wouldn't be able to think of doing, like you could switch the Intel Treads back to Strength Treads in between hits, but I mean, don't think about it too much. You play that right. So like,
wow, okay, yeah.
Like honestly, you shouldn't even think about that.
Think about that, but that is a good point.
And now you're gonna go in for this Ogre Tree Overgrowth. Overgrowth is a good spell because it doesn't do anything, but good kill.
Yeah,
so right now as a Spiritbreaker,
really good play.
Yeah, right now as a Spiritbreaker you're doing pretty much all you can ask for, as you're really just providing a lot of nuisance all over the map, just really panicking the other team. And the scariest thing about Spiritbreaker in pubs is that in a lot of these little pub games you don't have wards, so you never really know when he's coming. So that's always a good thing. One thing you should work on with Spiritbreaker, in my opinion, is you don't really want to go back to base with Spiritbreaker after you get a kill. So whether you pick up something like an urn, a bottle, even though bottle might not be the best choice. I personally like urn on Spiritbreaker quite a bit because it does give you that mana regen, and because you're going to be involved in so many kills, and you're always going to get an urn charge because you will be up close and personal with your enemy. So that's going to give you enough mana regen because your spells are such a long cooldown that you can probably continuously gank, because right now your ultimate's up but you don't have enough mana, so you might be forced to go back to base or you can farm up. Either way, it's not that bad, but when you get an advantage with Spiritbreaker, the thing is that you sort of want to keep that advantage because heroes get tankier as the game goes on. And Spiritbreaker, he scales okay, but he doesn't scale the best. So I think personally Urn or Drums is a really good way, as Drums gives you that extra stats and it gives you that move speed, which is very, very useful.
Yeah.
Alright. teleport by Lena. So I'm guessing you're staying up for Arcane Boots right now for the Lena.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arcane Boots is pretty good on Lena. As definitely want the spell. But yeah, I mean, at this point, there's really not too much you guys could be doing differently. I mean, I already told you Lena could get a bottle, Spearburger could get an urn, but right now you're just farming up, which is definitely a good chase to go. One thing that is sort of important to realize is that you have to sort of recognize what their team can do. I mean, their team is very, very scary late game. They have a Drow who can go like 1 in 80 and still have an impact because she's a Drow. And they have a Puck with a lot of AoE. And right now, your Ravage is up, so even though communicating in pubs isn't really the best thing, because sometimes they won't listen, you should say, alright guys, we have Ravage, let's try to force a fight. Let's try to get a tower push, let's try to make a team fight happen,
Right.
We have the advantage, let's do something with it. Because Ravage is one of those game-breaking spells. But that's just a matter of communication, so maybe that's something to keep in mind when you play a super heavy ultimate-based hero. It's a little bit different with heroes like Lena and Spirit Breaker because their ultimates are not giant AoE teamfight abilities, but yeah.
Right.
I'm guessing these opponents are not looking that good, not gonna lie. These opponents are, you're vastly
Yeah.
outplaying them.
These opponents were a lot easier than the other 2 games that we played after this.
Yeah, I saw
If
some
you
of
play a
those.
pub game, you just never know what you're gonna get.
That's true. So, I think I'm just gonna fast.
Do you think we should be moving? Oh, okay.
I said I
We
was.
should be moving together more often? Or like, I mean, we always stuck to our lanes quite heavily for I think about the first 15 to 20 minutes. And yeah, I mean, watching your videos, I always see guys, yeah, linking up a bit sooner than that.
It
And trying to
depends.
get more
Like,
things to happen.
there's a difference because recently I've only been uploading pro games, but even in my pub games, like, it's different because you don't have the communication. But I think right now, considering that Spirit Breaker doesn't have full mana, him farming isn't the worst idea. I mean, when you're not really being threatened in lane, you just want to maximize experience because they're really strong early game heroes, and if you can maximize experience, you just get going a lot quicker, you can get those items going. For Lena, you might want to look to create more openings just because your spells aren't going to get better as the game goes on. So you might want to roam around a bit more as Lena, as here comes a gank onto Drow, going to get absolutely demolished. And easy double kill. But yeah, Spirit Breaker without mana, he can afford to farm up, he can definitely make use of items because Spirit Breaker wants to charge head into the action. But usually with supports that have nukes that don't really scale that well, you usually want to sort of roam, put a bit of pressure, maybe drop some wards if you can, really just sort of look to force the other team into making mistakes. Even if you can't capitalize on them, if you just have them a couple moments where their carry's not farming up, if they're playing with a 1 carry lineup.
Right.
If they're playing with an all 5 carry lineup, then maybe you should just stick to your lane and dominate that and hope that your team can dominate the lanes.
Right.
But when they're playing with a lineup that's not very carries, if you have a really strong nuker in the form of Lena, you can force a lot of engagements and they really can't do anything.
Okay. Sorry, you said you wanted to fast forward?
I was, but I'm just gonna look
Oh, okay.
as just charging. Spirit Breaker is so much fun! I love Spirit Breaker.
Yeah. Trians, I thought he was really good. He had a lot of awareness in team fights. He was always healing me up and healing our towers. So it's certainly a hero that I never play.
Yeah, Trian can definitely make a difference in these sort of games because, again, I think you want to get a lot of kills in these low-level games, but I think the main difference, if you're not dying and you're still getting experience, that's going to be a lot better. So, of course it depends on your hero. If you're like Night Stalker and you're playing very passively, of course that's going to be a bad idea because the Night Stalker doesn't really exactly scale that well. If you're playing Spirit Breaker and you're playing passively, which you're not doing, you're playing very, very solidly as Spirit Breaker, you know, that's the right way to go. But yeah, I think the biggest thing in the lanes is just to make sure you survive. So you guys definitely did that. You guys are getting on a roll. Just want to talk about the skill builds for a second. I couldn't honestly remember. I might have to rewind a bit just to see what skill you maxed first, Lena. Did you max Dragon Slave or Light Strike Array? I can't remember. First, by level 7.
Normally Dragon Slave first, then Light Strike Array, and then into Fiery Soul afterwards.
Yeah,
And
that is.
obviously Laguna whenever it's.
Yeah, I think that is the correct skill build to go because the stun duration doesn't increase. So, I mean, the AoE is helpful, but Dragon Slave is obviously a bit better. It was just a bit mentioned because Spirit Breaker went for the 3-3-3 build. This is
I know. It's really bad.
It's not really bad because Spirit Breaker, all of his spells are pretty good. But obviously, if you can max one spell, it makes a great impact. The thing about Spirit Breaker, even if you max all his spells, like, doesn't make that big of a difference. I'm not too sure. But I think if you want to sort of go a bit more ganking across the map, you want to max perhaps the charge if you're going to go group up a bit more, which I think you should have done in this game because you have a Tide Hunter and you can force these engagements. Then maybe in maxing that haste so you can chase a bit better. The bash, you can max that if you're going to go for a bit more solo play. That could be very useful.
Right.
But, I mean, Spirit Breaker is such a tricky hero to sort of suggest a skill build. It really depends on personal preference and experience, which, I mean, I think you guys are probably going to get as you sort of play more and more. So you went Mask of Madness on Spirit Breaker. This is a pretty good item. I mean, it gives you the move speed, it gives you the bash chance. One thing that is a bit annoying for Spirit Breaker is that he has to be in the middle of everything, so you are going to inevitably get focused if you're sort of not surrounded by all your teammates. So I think Mask of Madness is a very, very good item. I know a lot of other people say Mask of Madness, you know, why are you guys getting it? You guys are scrubs or anything like that. Mask of Madness is a very good item, but I think it needs to be sort of a second item. It's not really the best first item. Because in early game you have such low HP that those nukes will really hurt. But as a second item, if you have something like a Vanguard, a BKB, or even a Drums, which is only 1700 gold, that can give you a bit more insurance. So that might be something. So when you pick up these Mask of Madness carries, whether it be Spirit Breaker, Void, or anything like that, for example, for Void, Void you can sort of get away with Mask of Madness first because you have Chronosphere to bail you out of trouble. But it might not be the case for other Mask of Madness carries. So with Spirit Breaker, I think Mask of Madness is a fine choice, but you might want to get it second. Nice job focus firing. Oh, Lena, Alives. Blast that guy. Nice. And that's your healing ward. So, nice job keeping it alive. Were you guys on Skype or Ventrilo or just text chatting?
We was it was on Steam chat. Just like what we're doing now. That's our main form of chat. Skype sometimes gives us a little bit of issue when we've got two programs running in the background on our desktop.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Yeah, I mean, I wish, I'm at least hoping one day that we get at least 5 friends together, that we can actually have a proper game of 5 guys all talking and not mixed languages and people like rage quitting and things like that. So
yeah, there's definitely a lot of communications in this place. I was just a bit, I was wondering, one thing you can do at Spirit Breaker right here is just charge a creep and get the fuck out if you're in a bad situation. I don't know if you're gonna die here. I don't think you will because Spirit Breaker's tank and they have no damage.
Creep right now.
Yeah, right after you pass the haste turn. So
yeah, it was a bit silly.
You know, that tunnel vision affects everybody. I definitely experience it quite a bit.
Exactly.
So Lena gonna go for the mech. That's a pretty good item here. Nobody else on your team would probably get a mech. Yeah, for the mid hero, mech is definitely a viable option. I mean, I don't think you guys should necessarily file item builds that are suggested. Unfortunately, you die there. That's a bit unfortunate. One thing I have to mention for Lena, like, Lena, you're such a high impact spellcaster. Like, right now, you're not really doing that much. Like, the movement seems to sort of be going without a little bit of purpose. Whether that sort of be, you know,
Radiant's bottom
I don't
tower
know. How
is
much have you
under
played,
attack.
Lena? Because I feel like
Yeah.
Dire's
Um,
structures are
no, I mean, I
fortified.
think this is probably about the
Dire's
7th
middle
game
tower
with
is
Lena.
under attack.
So yeah, I just didn't know where anything was happening at this stage.
yeah, I mean that's fair enough.
If I remember correctly.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I like how you use Laguna Blade, have full HP heroes to get the maximum amount of damage whenever possible. So that's definitely something that's very, very good. And you definitely had the mana pool to sustain it, but you should be trying to turn around and stun.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
I think it seems to me like you're a little bit afraid to cast your stun. Is it because you're afraid that it's gonna miss?
Yeah, I tend to miss it quite often. Yeah.
It is a bit difficult to set up when you have literally no other stuns on your team. But, I mean, that also comes with experience, because you do have quite a number of slows, so that is something you can do. But, yeah, now I can see you're running out of mana, and now you're sort of just like, oh crap, what do I do? And honestly, without mana, you can't really do too much as Lena, so that's just a bit of an unfortunate circumstance right there. But SB's charging. I don't know why Enchantress didn't get maxing stats, but it's okay, I guess, for laning Enchantress.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has
Alright, I'm
been
just gonna
destroyed.
sort of skip ahead, because I think
Dire's
Sure.
structures are
I
fortified.
think for your heroes, you want to make the most impact in the early game, and I think we sort of analyzed a lot of the early game already.
Yeah.
I mean, Spirit Breaker made the right item build, he went for BKB. I mean, nothing that they have goes through BKB aside from Static Link. Lena went the Mechanism, gonna go into drums, really smart items, gonna get wards as well. I mean, you guys are really making all the correct item decisions. Again, Mask of Madness, it's a good item. I mean, I like it a lot more than other people, but I don't know if it's the best first item.
Sure.
Just because you take so much extra damage, and you're gonna, with Spirit Breaker, you're gonna be in the middle of everything, so that extra damage is gonna hurt quite a bit. If you pick up a Vanguard, a Hood, drums, I mean, you picked up Strength Charge, which is very useful, and you had such a level advantage that you didn't really get punished.
Middle tower
But
is under attack.
in a disadvantageous situation, Mask of Madness should never be picked up as a first item, so that's something you can keep in mind. In this game, like, it's
Yeah.
never really in doubt that you guys have a really solid advantage. I mean, unless you guys sort of like AFK farm for the entire game, then you might be in a bit of trouble against a Drow and a Razor. But in this game, like, since you're in such a high advantage, Mask of Madness first definitely is a really solid option, because you're probably not going to get punished. But yeah, in a disadvantageous situation, like Lena, your item build, in my opinion, is really, really strong. Like, it's really the correct item build that you obviously asked your team, alright, do we need a mech? And they said, yeah, we'll get a mech, I'll get the mech. But yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of times with
No one ever
Lena's,
gets me.
Dire's middle tower. Radiant's
a lot of time with Lena's in sort of semi-competitive games, you probably get more wards, but this is a pub game, you want to obviously experiment with things. And I mean, I wouldn't honestly get wards in a pub game with the mid-solo Lena that often, unless my team really needed it, and not when we were so far ahead. So I think you're making the correct decisions right here. Not too sure about that stun.
Radiant's
You just
bottom
whiffed it
tower is
completely.
under attack.
I'm just sort of skipping around the replay so you guys don't really know where I'm at.
No,
So.
no, no. Yeah. No,
But it was just
there were
like a
couple
mid-lane
times
engagement.
where I whiffed completely.
That just comes with practice. I mean,
Radiant's bottom tower
alright.
is under
I
attack.
think I'm gonna go next replay because I think this game I pretty much went
Yeah,
over all the
sure.
points.
Sure.
As I mean, your heroes, like some of the biggest things is team fights, and your heroes aren't really team fight heroes. So I'm not really too sure what else to commentate for ganking heroes. Like the item decisions and
Yeah.
skill build is pretty much all you need. We'll go into the Oz playing Venomancer game, or Warlock and Veno. This is gonna be interesting.
Yeah, this was not. We certainly had less concentration in this game, didn't we? Or at least I did. In this one, I think I made a lot of stupid mistakes. Veno is a hero that I've played quite a bit. He's been the most successful hero that I've played with. I like playing him as, you know, like what I call like a semi-carry and a support. I switch between both. And
Yeah, utility.
I
That's
really
usually.
like the fact that that he has that he can deal extra damage via his poison. It's just something that I really dig. Jose then picked Warlock. I think that's like your favorite hero at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, well, hero I played the most. I think probably like half the
Yeah.
games I've played. Yeah, so.
That's interesting because I
Well,
don't think Warlock is necessarily that good. Or I mean, it's obviously really strong. I mean, for like a hero that you want to grind with, Warlock is an interesting choice because he has a lot of complexity. Even though he's a pretty, when you look at him, he's a pretty basic hero, but he has a lot of complexity. But I mean, this is gonna be a pretty useful game because this can like me look at how you team fight, and I think this is pretty important. Alright, I'm gonna go to around the 2-minute mark in the replay time, and then you guys can meet me there, and then we'll just go over the usual. Or I think I went a bit faster. I'm actually at. Ooh, where am I at? Oh, I'll get to the 2-minute mark if you guys can meet me there.
Okay.
I've gone a little bit past it. I'm at 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
All right, I'll get to there. I'll get to there. It's not that difficult.
Okay. I'm there.
Okay, I'm at 210. I'm gonna unpause in 3, 2, 1. Unpause. 11, 12,
Cool.
13, 14. Alright, I'm probably gonna go through this game on normal speed for the most part because these heroes
Sure.
are pretty interesting, at least in my eyes. So right now you have wards on Warlock, Ring of Protection. Gonna go for the Tranquils most likely. Who got the Courier? Veno probably got the
30
Courier. I'm guessing.
seconds to battle.
Definitely. I mean,
I did, yeah.
this is pretty standard. Something to sort of take note at is Veno is probably the best level 1 ganker in the game, so that's just something to keep in mind. And when you pair him with the Warlock,
Okay.
it's good, but like Veno is a really aggressive support because he can sort of scale, but he's strongest at level 1 with the Venomous scale because if you look at the slow percentage, it's 50% in an AoE over a huge duration. That is massive.
Right.
So Warlock
Okay.
can't really take advantage of that. He doesn't have a nuke. His heal is kind of ass in terms of damage for the early levels. His animation is decent, but that's just something to keep in mind. Venomancer, I think, is one of the best aggressive level 1 heroes in the game. And over time, because heroes get items like Pipe, Mech, it doesn't really become that more effective. And you actually went for Poison Sting, so this is a bit more of a harassment build, I think. So I guess we'll find out who's going to get the farm in a second. I guess they're going to split it.
Yeah, we kind of split up.
We kind of split it. I had a difficult time with this Bloodseeker. I hate Bloodseeker as much as you hate Keeper of the Light. He's just an annoying hero. I don't like playing him well, and when I come up against him, he can throw my game off. It's just a psychological thing.
Yeah, I know that feeling, dude. I got you. No worries. Alright, so right now, you guys are somewhat auto-attacking. Are you gonna pull? Like, I guess you're trying to sort of mess up Bloodseeker
no.
a bit, but I don't know. Like, I think it's right now. It's a little bit too early
Yeah.
for me to commentate anything because it's really early on.
No, I think that's exactly right. I mean, I certainly had tunnel vision now. I was just trying to focus on harassing Bloodseeker, and I completely forgot about stacking the creep camp and pulling the wave.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty useful against AA because you can't really do too much when you stack because you can just sort of move, especially when you're playing in the safe lane position. AA can't really sort of go in and dive your tower, can he? Like, you can just sort of run away, and AA is just sort of like, well, I can't do anything. Bloodseeker can't really do anything. Right now, their lane has no stuns. I mean, Bloodseeker has a lot of sustainability. AA is pretty good, but he's already used up 2 of his cold feats. So I think you guys should probably be playing a bit more aggressive. Now, I know I said the most important thing is to not die, but you gotta look at the situations. One thing that you guys should probably do when you take a look at lanes is look at mana costs, because this is something I don't see people do. Right now, if you look at A, if you can sort of memorize his mana cost, you can see he only has enough for 1 cold feet. So that's something to keep in mind.
Right.
So you can sort of time your aggression and time your defensiveness. If they have full mana and you're against like a Sven Lina or a Sven Sand King, you can say, alright, we gotta play defensive with squishy heroes.
Right.
So that's something to keep in mind.
None for you.
So for the most part, a lot of auto-attacking in this lane. Got harassment with Poison Sting with the Gale, but you know, that happens. Yeah. Yeah, not stacking.
Yeah. Not much CS.
So it looks like you guys are pretty much splitting it up. I don't think you want to really sort of use the nuke against Bloodseeker because, well, I guess since you're going to go into engagement, yeah, that's definitely going to be useful. Okay, maybe not. I didn't know that you guys were going to go right back in for an engagement. I was about to say using a damage over time spell against a Bloodseeker when you don't really have that much extra damage might not be the best because he can sustain himself with the Bloodbath, but you guys went back in and now he's a bit harassed, so yeah, I like the pressure putting on because he's pretty much out of regen. I think you recognize that fact, but he's doing a nice job. You got the right item build. You got a poor min shield. Oh, Venomancer, you're gonna get stunned. Oh no, but they don't have anything. But yeah, you could be doing like pulls and stacks, but you already realized that, so I mean, of course, one of the things that you should keep in mind in terms of pulling is if the creep wave is where it's currently at, like right in this position.
Yep.
And you sort of pull a stacked wave, it might not be the best idea. It could be better against lineups that can't punish you. This lane can't really punish you that heavily, but the fact of the matter is that the waves will push into your tower, and since you have squishy heroes, you'll take a lot of creep damage, and that's not something you want to sort of afford to take. You can do it once, but probably won't be able to do it twice, so that's something to keep in mind. You want to sort of wait for the creep wave to be pushed out a little bit further if you want to go for the stacked pulls so that you won't get dove upon because they're going to be dealing with other creeps. It's going to be at a longer distance and the neutrals can kill the creeps a bit more safely, and that also prevents creep jacks from the supports where they come in. But I mean, you guys aren't really doing that this game.
No. But that's a good point. That's something that I've never thought of before, waiting for the creep lane to get pushed further down before we do that. That makes sense.
Because obviously creeps do a lot of damage, so you obviously don't want to tank it too often.
Yeah.
So right now, Veno is sort of... What do you... I guess we'll find out in a sec what items you're going to go for. But, again, I don't think this is a very good Venomancer lane. This is just... Venomancer is an aggressive hero, and Warlock on the side lane is a defensive hero. Warlock in general in the laning phase is a defensive hero. So I don't think this lane synergizes well at all. Do you win this lane often?
Not really.
Not really, no.
Okay. Well, that's good then, because this is not really a good lane. Like, it's ranged, but so you can do a lot of physical lesson, but you can't really get kills. And when you have double range, that doesn't really have the hardest strong carry. Like, if you had something like a Drow or a Luna with the Warlock or a Veno or something like that, you could do stuff with that because you'd get farm. But neither of these two heroes really benefit the most from farm. Warlock actually probably benefits a bit more than Veno in terms of farm.
Right, right.
And right now, like, you're annoying the fuck out of Bloodseeker, but that's it. He can just regen it up. So I guess you just sort of gotta pick and choose. One thing that you guys could do is you could see how much regen each person has, and assuming of course like you're not two melee heroes, if you both have range heroes, which you do in this case, you can say, okay, they have no regen on one of these heroes, let's focus him down, instead of just sort of like evening up your harass, because right now you're throwing down a lot of harass on the Bloodseeker, but he has poor man shield. Of course he's easier because he's melee, but with a Veno, because you can slow him down, you can sort of try to maybe go for the A. It's difficult because A is just a defensive hero as well, so if you rush in a defensive situation, he could cold feed you and then suddenly the engagement could turn around. But yeah, look at the opponent's regen so you can sort of guess who you can harass a bit more.
Okay.
Because, you know, Blitzer can heal himself, he has a poor man shield, but you harass him all the way back to base. Nice.
Do you think poor man's shield or a Vanguard would work on Veno?
It depends the situation. I don't think poor man shield is necessarily the best. Actually, it could be, because if you're farming Veno, it could be very good in terms of mitigating harassment, but it does depend on the lane. I mean, if you're against a dual melee, then obviously you don't want to take harassment in general, because they're 2 melee. If it's 1 melee, 1 range, it might not be the best, because you can sort of just juke out of the melee hero's range and just sort of kite him around and sort of avoid the ranged hero's harassment whenever possible. In a double range lane, that could be an option if you're the main farmer, because you want to try to farm as much as possible. So there's definitely options for every item. Like, I don't think there's ever really a bad item choice in a game. So I know that's probably a bit confusing, but like, I think every item is good in the right situation, except for maybe like Atos on some carries or some refresher on like Storm or something dumb like that. So you guys got 2 Ring of Basilius. Why?
Yeah, good point. I bought that by mistake because I was not looking and I was not watching what Warlock was buying. That was my mistake.
Thanks for standing still,
I bought it because I started off the game with a ring of armor, a ring of protection, and just wanted to do something with it, I think.
Alright, that's fair. You just gotta communicate, so that's something probably work on. But at least like you guys realized it.
Good point.
Like, as long as you realize, you can always improve. If you just say, well, fuck it, you know, whatever, then, I mean, can't really improve from that. Right now, since you have the creep wave and there's nobody in your lane, one of you should turn on Ring of Basilius. This is also very useful when you have a siege creep and you have a stronger lane than them, which you did because you had 2 ranged heroes that could throw a lot more harassment. Because right now, the creeps would have been able to survive, you could do a bit more damage, the tower would have taken a bit more damage. So you could have potentially like got the tower down to a 3rd HP, so that's something you should do. Turn on Ring of Basilius when you're at the tower.
Right.
But obviously when the lane is central, you want to turn that off so you can sort of manage the creep equilibrium. I like the wrestling you're doing today. He's not really having a good time. Okay, so is this a standard skill build you usually do for Warlock?
Yeah, normally trying to stats up. I think normally I was too squishy at the beginning, and I just kept moving from fatal bonds to stats.
Oh, Shadow Ward, you
this
mean?
normally seems to get me to survive longer. Well, I used to alternate between Shadow Word and fatal bonds. And I started sacrificing points in fatal bonds for stats instead, just to try and get myself to survive a bit more. So I'll end up just having Shadow Word and stats at the beginning. Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh,
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get it. That sucks. Could actually kill the A a little bit earlier, but you were distracted apparently. The golem wasn't really properly microed till the end, and now you get owned. I had something I wanted to say. When you play Warlock, do you usually dual lane him or solo him?
Normally, yeah, it's either I land up mid or if I'm playing with Sean, and then we're normally trying to dual lane. But normally mid, I think, when I'm playing by myself. Yeah.
But even then, you still get points into Fatal Bonds. Just in this lane, you just felt like you wanted the stats, right?
I think I normally go with 1 point in Fatal Bonds before the golem. But otherwise, it's, yeah. I normally pick up Fatal Bonds after Shadow Word and the stats up until that point.
Alright, that's fair.
Quite bad.
Yeah, 1 point Fatal Bonds early on is pretty much all you need in a dual lane, as long as you can link both heroes, so that's a good skill build. I'm not gonna really critique tech. I was just a bit curious because you didn't get Fatal Bonds, so I was just wondering if that's something you usually did. ran into a lion. That was not good.
Dire's top tower is under
This
attack.
game, like last game, you had a bit more of a game plan. This game, you guys seem a little bit less focused.
Yeah.
Yeah. We threw all our
Radiant's top tower
focus
is under
into that
attack.
first game.
I mean, that's fair. You
Yeah.
know, you can't always have like top of the line focus in Dota. It just happens. But I
Yeah.
mean, as long as you guys sort of realize. Do you usually go with this build for Veno? For skill build, I mean, not for items.
No, for some reason I decided not to go ulti at 6.
I mean, no, that's not the part I was wondering, because
don't.
that's actually it's reasonable. Like actually, a lot of times some Venos don't get ultimate at level 6
Yeah.
because it costs way too much mana.
Yeah.
I'm just like, do you usually max poison sting?
Yeah.
This is the build I'm wondering,
I
because
do, yeah. Yeah.
okay, you shouldn't do that anymore.
First, then got you.
You shouldn't max poison sting because the slow duration or the slow percentage really doesn't increase. The duration doesn't increase, and you get a bit more damage, but the damage doesn't stack when you hit. So like, all you get is a little bit more extra damage, which is really not that significant. I mean, all your other spells, you do a lot more
Right.
damage. You can get tankier wards. You can provide a lot of protection, and you have wards on the map. So keep in mind, you can place the wards for sight if you feel like you're in a disadvantageous situation. If you think you're gonna get ganked, this is especially useful in the long lane situation. And man, I wish I had sort of shared replays. But see where the ward is. Like if you think somebody's gonna wrap around from that angle and you're playing on the dire and long lane, you can place the ward sort of like in that jungle and sort of see if somebody's gonna come in. But in general, even with the semi-carry Venomancer, I wouldn't max Poison Sting by 7. I'd max Scale, maybe.
Okay,
'Cause-
first, okay.
If you're playing support Veno, then it depends. Ooh, Ice Blast. Don't run in a straight line, guys.
Yeah.
Radiant's
And when would you
structures
suggest
are
taking
fortified.
Plague Ward?
It depends on the situation. If you're playing support Veno, a lot of times it might be more prudent to max Plague Wards because, like, at least that way you can sort of make up some farm if your other heroes are... Because the Plague Wards get very tank and do a decent amount of damage and they're very spammable. This is where people start laughing.
Radiant's
Dang.
tower is under attack.
Run in
See,
straight
what
line.
we did was, it was Friday night, and we said, right, we have to send
Radiant's
BBallin
middle tower has
3
fallen.
replays, so let's play 3
Radiant's
games.
bottom tower
And the
is
first
under
game we
attack.
put all, or at least I put all my concentration into that one, and then I thought to myself, nah, the second game is going really bad.
Yeah.
Radiant's bottom tower
I mean,
is
that's
under
just sort
attack.
of something you learn experience. Don't run in a straight line against Clock, AA, Voker, Pudge. Like, that makes it so easy. That's just, I mean, you guys will obviously pick that up later on.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody picks it up. But as long as you sort of recognize that, okay guys, they have an A, Pudge, a Clockwork, a Voker. Let's try not to run in a straight line when we run away. But yeah, back to the support Venomancer. In a situation where you're sort of giving the farm to another carry, and Venomancer is a hero that I think does need experience, but he can function well without experience. Also, a lot of times in Venomancer situations, if your other lanes are a little bit weaker, then it can sort of help it out with the Plague Ward defense and really sort of help protect a tower. And an aggressive carry Venomancer, even then it might be okay to get the Plague Wards. In a pushing Venomancer, you can max Plague Wards. I think Plague Wards is definitely his best skill. But yeah, you guys are getting zapped, and okay, I'm gonna talk about this for a second because this is a big issue. Like, this is the issue I was hoping for that would come up. Like, what do you guys hope to accomplish? Why were you there on that side of the map? You don't have Warlock Ultimate. Like, what do you guys hope to accomplish against an A who has a spammable ultimate, against a Lion who has a couple disables? Like, you guys don't really do anything.
Yeah.
You have no initiation. Like, your initiation is Venomancer running in for a slow. That's your initiation. And Warlock Ultimate just cooled down. You're gonna get the kill, but now you're at 160 seconds without it. So, I mean, I think it was arguably worth it because you protected your life and you got a kill. But now you can't really push. So I guess we'll find out in a second if you guys do push in the next 160 seconds. Because again, this lineup doesn't do anything without the Warlock ultimate. You can't really push, you can't really fight, because they have AA and they have Lion. This lineup is really good late game, but you can't do anything 15 minutes in the game without the Warlock ultimate. So, I mean, that push where Venomancer just sort of got zapped and got owned, you guys were sort of fighting a terrible situation right there. And, I mean, you were all grouped up as 5, so that's just something you gotta realize. And that's something you just type in team chat, because you can say, guys, Warlock Ultimate's down, I'm gonna farm. And when people are not pushing as a whole group, they're gonna say, oh, well, now this is a bit more dangerous situation. Because even if they don't realize that the potential of not having the Warlock Ultimate up, the fact that there's not 5 people with them is gonna make them think twice. And at least this way, like, obviously in public games you want to care about yourself a bit more, so you can say, well, team is running into a bad situation, but I won't die. So, I mean, that's something.
Yeah, I think we tend to just, if everyone else is going forward, try and help out, or assist if we can. No one actually listens to you. Well, not to me anyway. In the game. Everyone's on their own buzz, really.
Yeah, but, I mean, like, you do have to sort of think for yourself. I mean, obviously you guys are thinking for yourself, but, like, you gotta look at the situation. Alright, they have AA Ultimate as a 40-second cooldown. They have Bloodseeker with Rupture. We have nothing like Mechanism. Are you guys carrying... Always carry TPs against Bloodseeker, guys. Because he can't kill you by himself. Yeah. Without... I mean, they can't really kill you unless CM or Lion are there, because you can teleport out of AA Ice Blast, as long as your reactions are on point.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Your sniper's playing well. Got pretty early Shadow Blade.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is just sort of a staple. Also, this works for heroes like Venomancer, Viper, Night Stalker. With Night Stalker, you do have to be a bit careful because his stun or his slow does interrupt teleports. But what you do, Venomancer just got zapped. And it's I don't know if you guys had vision there with the ward. I'm just going to switch to...
No, I didn't. I might have had vision, but I wasn't watching the map.
Okay, well, I mean, you know, that's something. That's, like, not much more you can say. Oh, Rubik has a dagger. Not gonna lie, you guys are getting carried. You guys are getting carried pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to my point. Against heroes like Venomancer, Viper, Night Stalker, Bloodseeker. With Night Stalker again, his Void interrupts teleports, but once he's at the Voids, he has nothing that can disrupt TP, so you just get the fuck out of there. So you just teleport out of there, and there's really nothing you can do. So that's something you can keep in mind. Always carry a teleport scroll against those type of heroes. Always carry a teleport scroll in general, and I think for the most part you guys have been teleporting back to the lanes, so that's good. But usually when you're back in base, I think it's better to pick up 2 TP scrolls, so you always have one in hand, because if there's a team fight during the lane engagement and if your teleport's off cooldown, you can sort of just get back into the action. I think that Warlock ultimate might have been a bit late, but it doesn't really matter too much in the end.
Yeah.
One thing you have to do is Fatal Bonds. You're not Fatal Bonding. Like, I haven't seen Fatal Bond all game.
Yeah.
Could be a lack of focus, it could be just like, well, I mean, what do I Fatal Bond? Do I want to run up to them and put myself in a dangerous situation? That could be it, but in general, Fatal Bonds just does so much damage. I mean, like, the combination that you have is actually, like, it's a pretty shit laning combination, but in terms of team fight, it should wreck everything, because Fatal Bonds plus Venomancer ultimate means everybody dies. It's ridiculous. I think you guys are...
Just talk me through... Sorry, BBallin.
Oh, I think I was saying you guys are spending a lot of time just like AFK for some reason. I don't know if you guys are shopping or you're just like typing to stuff. But usually you don't want to... You want to be moving. Even if you're shopping, just click on a different area of the map so you can put yourself in a safer situation. and sort of make it more difficult. Because right now, like, I see Warlock or Veno like stand in place for minutes at a time, or not minutes, but obviously at least 10 to 15 seconds at a time, where they're literally just standing and not doing anything. So I don't know if Warlock's macroing his golem or anything like that, or if you're shopping, which I think Veno was because he bought a claymore. But something you could do that is bind your shop to a hotkey, and that will make it easier for you to buy items, so you can do it a lot more quickly. Also, do you guys use quick buy? Like, do you drag items and put them on the quick buy so you can just right click them? Okay, that's good. That'll make that a lot easier. But yeah, can you guys like, do you guys know why you were sort of like standing in place for moments at a time?
I was shopping there, stupidly. I was buying that claymore.
Okay, so in that situation, yeah, I think if you just had quick buy on, I mean, I don't know if you really necessarily knew what you wanted to get. I think you're probably deciding to yourself, alright, what item should I go for? Do I want to get Shadow Blade? Do I want to get something like an Aghanims? So that's sort of understandable, but you gotta sort of make decisions. I mean, you're up against an AA and a Bloodseeker, so you can't really stand around. You're up against lineups with 2 global spells. You can't really stand around in one position for too long, otherwise you will take way too much damage and you will die unnecessarily amount of times. Alright, Sean, what were you gonna ask?
Spectre. Can you just talk me through Spectre's ultimate? Because I've tried to play her a couple of times, and I know that she gets to create additional Spectres basically, but it kind of seems as if she can hop quite a far distance over the map.
Yeah, so what Spectre's ultimate does is that it's a global ultimate, and when she uses it, she creates illusions at everywhere where the opposing player are. So there's 5 members on the map, or if one person's dead, they create 4 Spectres, 1 at every opponent. They have higher than average base move speed. I think the move speed is 450, so they will always chase you. So it's a short duration, it's like 4 to 5 seconds, but the annoying thing is that you can haunt into them, and when you haunt into them, that means your real Spectre shows up, and that means you can cast a dagger, you can chase in, and the good thing for Spectre as a hard carry, in case you want to play with her, is that means whenever haunt is up, like other carries can't really do this, but maybe like Morphling, or if you have a Coddle on your side and recall, but other carries can't really do this. With Spectre, you can be farming one lane, and while your team is trying to force an issue, and then you can get to the fight instantly. Like, you can take fights anywhere with the Spectre, so that's a good thing with Spectre. The bad thing about Spectre is like, her early game is like the shittiest of any carry, I think.
Yeah,
but,
it's incredibly difficult.
But yeah, so for Haunt in general, to deal with that, it's interesting, because you know how in most games people say, don't clump up. Don't clump up for the Echo, don't clump up for the RP, don't clump up for AA. In Spectre, Desolate does plus 65 damage if nobody in your team is around you. So you sort of want to clump up against a Spectre. So it creates a really interesting dynamic. So, I mean, obviously you guys are playing not the tankiest heroes, so like, you might want to clump up, but you also gotta make sure. I think the biggest problem in this game is like, you guys don't really know what to do against AA. Like, I feel like you guys are not really performing or reacting well to the Ice Blast.
No. I have no real knowledge of what Ancient Apparition does, or how it can hold you back or control the game.
Alright, so against AA in general, his ultimate's a global spell that he has to hit. It's a targeted ability. It's not like Spectre where he can click a button and then illusions appear around you. He has to guess where an area is on the map and then try to target you. It's a pretty fast projectile. But the thing about AA is once you get a certain percent threshold, or you get below a certain percentage, it shatters you. But the main thing about AA, which makes him the most annoying thing to deal with, is against a good AA, is that you can't heal. So Warlock's Shadow Word, there's no point casting it while you're under the AA debuff, because you can't heal. You can't cast Mechanism under that debuff. You won't be able to heal. You'll get the armor, but you won't heal. So that's something you gotta keep in mind. Really good ultimate right here. Again, you're standing in place. Like, you still haven't casted Fatal Bonds, so that's something you gotta sort of keep in mind.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're doing. Like, you're casting ultimate, and then you want to make sure the golem's chasing. So you click on your golem, and then you want him to chase shit. So I think that's what's happening right here.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit difficult because you're the only AoE lockdown. So it's a little bit difficult. I mean, unless Veno gets up close and gets the Gale off, like, you have no slows on your side. So I can understand where it's going to come from. But there's something you can do. You can either cast the Fatal Bonds preemptively, and that'll help amplify your Golem's ultimate damage. I mean, even though it's 100 damage, it'll help amplify it a bit more. So you can cast Fatal Bonds and then Rock. Or you can cast Rock, do Fatal Bonds, and then you can do the Micro the Golem, chase him down.
Okay. No, I'll do that.
But you should always cast Fatal Bonds, especially with the Venomancer in your squad, and you say you play this combination a decent number of times. Because again, Venomancer ultimate plus Fatal Bonds, the thing about Venomancer is that his ultimate doesn't kill, but Fatal Bonds does pure damage, and it will kill. And the damage over time is just immense.
Right.
It is absolutely... Because Fatal Bonds lasts forever, it's pure damage, and it takes damage based on how much damage everybody else takes. So if you hit everybody with the Venomancer ultimate, and then you hit everybody with the Fatal Bonds, they will probably most likely just die if all your levels are sufficient.
Right.
So, like, with this
Oh,
combination,
Like
it's
that.
instrumental.
That's very interesting.
It's instrumental. It's absolutely instrumental that if you always have to use Fatal Bonds. Like, it's like you're losing out so much teamfight potential. So that's something you should do. And that's really useful for Warlock in general. Because the only reason why Warlock is picked sometimes in competitive is because of Fatal Bonds and because of the Rock. Like, his Shadow Word is not really a good spell. His Upheaval, like, you're not scaling it, which is, I think, it's pretty good in some situations. Back to, actually to Upheaval. I think it's okay to skip it because I don't think Upheaval is a very good spell. There are other people who think Upheaval is a great spell. I don't think it's a good spell, but in this situation where you don't really have anything to lock people in place other than a Venomancer Gale, it might be okay to get 1 point to Upheaval. But then again, the teamfights are ending so quickly that, like, can you even channel the Upheaval? So it's sort of a delicate slope. But you should sort of look at your team composition to see, alright, do we have slows? Do we have a stun where I can actually channel the Upheaval? Because I'm guessing sometimes you do get Upheaval, sometimes you don't. Am I right?
To be honest, I tend not to get it at all.
Okay.
I got it at the beginning, when I started playing with them. I just kept dying whenever I tried casting it.
Okay, well, I mean, obviously it's the last spell you should max. But, I mean, you can do it in situations where you're standing far back. I mean, it's a difficult spell. It's a pretty bad spell unless you really know what you're doing with it, and in most situations, like, I think it's pretty funny because people say, you know, Upheaval can win your team fight, but it only ever wins you like one team fight. It never really wins you multiple team fights. Like, I've only ever seen Upheaval be useful in one fight in a game, even when I'm playing. So I don't think it's a good spell. I think it's like one of the worst spells in the game. But there are actually a lot of people who do like to play it, and the AoE slow is pretty significant. But again, against this team, because they have so many squishy heroes that everybody dies before you can even channel it, I mean, I don't really blame you skipping it. So I think you can skip it, but if you don't really have too many slows, you might want to get 1 or 2 points. But definitely not before like level 11 or level 12 or anything like that.
Okay.
So you're about to finish Aghanims. I think this is the best spell to go on Warlock. You guys don't have a mech. Warlock, well, I'm gonna ask you this. Was it a conscious decision not to get a mech against an A, or did you guys just not get a mech in general?
No, it wasn't a conscious decision at all.
Wasn't a conscious decision.
Okay, so
Normally... Sorry? Yeah, normally, if it's just... I'm normally just worried about trying to keep Sean alive and myself alive with the heal. Probably not the best thing. And I don't think, we were getting much...
okay, in this game, Mechanism...
When watching the replay, it seems now.
In this game, I mean, Mechanism obviously wouldn't be that good because you're up against an AA, and he's actually been landing his Ice Blast consistently. So, like, Mechanism would actually not do too much. In mid-soul Warlock games, it might be okay to get mech, but I think I'm gonna agree with you. When you're in dual lanes, when Warlock is not gonna get much farm, I think the sooner you get Aghanims, the better. So, like, I agree with your own decision just to skip Mechanism entirely. I was just wondering the rationale behind it.
And Aghanims versus the Necronomicon. Which do you prefer the Aghanims?
For Warlock, I always choose Aghanims. It's not even a question for me. Especially since I'm personally not that good at micro, but also in general, Warlock Ultimate is like one of the few ultimates where even if I'm 20 kills behind, if I get the Aghanims up and if they don't have a Diffusal, you will, in my opinion, or you should win a team fight regardless the first time you use it, even if you're like 20 kills behind. Because it's just that good. Because the Illumination, or the Illuminate, or god, the Immolate damage stacks, and with the Fatal Bonds, it does even more damage. And that's why Fatal Bonds, like, you should always cast it.
Right.
Even in situations where not casting Ultimate, when your Ultimate's on cooldown, you always have to use Fatal Bonds. Like, name of the game for Warlock is Fatal Bonds. Like, that should be your #1 priority. You don't have to heal people. Like, fuck healing. Just Fatal Bonds. Gonna drill that into your head. Fatal Bonds. Fatal Bonds.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure you get it.
We'll do.
Alright, that's good. Alright, so for some reason your team is like jacking off and I'm not too sure what the fuck they're doing. I can sort of understand why you guys are farming, because like, honestly I don't know what your team's doing. I'm a bit confused to what exactly is your team's rationale. Alright, let's charge into an AA without our Warlock Ultimate, guys. And I think that was a good decision for you to farm, because your Warlock Ultimate just cooled down, and you want to fish the Aghanim, so I think that was a good decision on your part not to go in for a fight. Because you obviously don't want to lose the gold, because it takes Warlock forever to farm up. Now, I'm not too sure what you're doing, Benno. You're charging in. You have a Shadow Blade, and this is a pub game, so they're lacking detection.
Yeah.
So, still...
Are you guys at 37 minutes and 25 seconds?
Replay timer?
27?
Yeah. I'm exactly where you are.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah, he's playing pretty well, is he?
Oh, sorry, I had my mic muted. I was gonna ask, oh, nice Fatal Bonds. Ultimate? There's 3 people. Fatal Bonds doing what? Ultimate? You got
I
your
was waiting for the eggs.
yeah.
And that combo from Bloodseeker,
Rupture
is,
4-staff.
Blood Rage plus the 4-staff, yeah, I mean, that's just brutal.
Alright, that was a bit unfortunate for you, because Fatal Bonds actually just wore off as you cast the ultimate, so that kind of sucks for you. Not gonna lie. And right now, Bloodseeker going ham. I was gonna ask you guys, in general, do you guys play PL, Ricky, hard carries that have Invisible, but, like, obviously don't?
I play Bounty Hunter.
Okay.
I've just started playing some Ricky, but that's about it.
So one thing you guys should always pay attention.
The Shadow Blade.
Okay, one thing you guys should always keep in mind is always click your enemy heroes when you're playing these sorts of heroes. Always click the enemy heroes in general to see what items you have. But in situations where you're playing a hard carry, especially since you obviously never want to die with a hard carry, you want to farm up, is to make sure they don't have dust or sentries. If they have dust or sentries, you have to play a lot more defensively. And this is actually one of the first things that I was doing, like even for a lot of people that I know are doing, is even if I didn't have the best mechanical skills, like you can always click to see what items your enemy have, and then you can sort of judge what to do after that. So in situations where you're playing a PL who all you want to do is AFK farm until you get to defeat so they can split push, is obviously you don't want to die. And the best way to do that is to make sure you don't get ganked. And they can't gank you unless they have dust. So you can do that to click. So that's just something that came in mind when you're playing this Venna with the Shadow Blade. Because eventually, even in public games, people will get dust as you level up. So you have to learn to deal with it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
tower has fallen. Radiant's middle barracks are under
Should we
attack.
go to that to the third replay?
Radiant's
Is this
middle
game?
barracks.
Oh, it's
Is there
getting close.
time?
No, I'll go to the third replay. Is this game pretty much over? Like,
This game's pretty much over.
okay. I think I pretty much everyone went into pretty good detail. Well, you guys. Yeah, we can go to the third replay.
Yeah.
No problem. Let's see.
So the third replay was played the Saturday morning. Okay, good
It's
night.
Lion and Gyro. Okay.
Yeah. Now Oz has been playing a lot of Gyro.
Okay, Gyro's interesting because he has a lot of variations you can use for his skill build. Alright, I'm gonna fast forward to about, let's see. I'm at 3 minutes replay timer. I'm at 3 minutes replay timer. So,
Okay.
let me know when you get
My
there.
for some reason the download for me the download's pretty slow for some reason. I don't know why it's doing this.
Okay.
Yeah, same here.
Alright, well I'll just I'll talk about what you guys have. So Lion has Tango, Sal, 3 branches. You guys always seem to have decent item builds. You have 2 couriers.
Yeah,
Good shit.
that infuriated me. I don't know why that happened.
So I'm guessing
That's a waste.
no,
of
you're the only
200
support on your
gold, isn't it?
team. Like Lion's the only support. So did you get both? Or I
Yeah.
guess wait, you actually got
we-
both
we had
couriers.
Someone else
support
just bought
Draw
another one.
Ranger.
Oh, Draw got the courier.
Yeah.
Ah, I see. So I mean that's okay if like the mid gets her own courier. Like I mean you can't really deny whatever if she wants to get her own courier, whatever. Alright, you guys are gonna language each other. Let me know when you get to 3 minutes or when you finish downloading. Alright, so you're up against
If we had to work on two... Ooh. Sorry, we were currently trying to work on Nature's Prophet and Tinker. Would you suggest that together, or just to try and... Yeah, we're trying to...
No,
Hop around
I
as
wouldn't.
much
I wouldn't
as we
suggest
can.
that combination
Okay.
together because it's actually Nature's Prophet and Tinker take all the farm on the map, so your team will not get farmed in general. So unless you know exactly what to do with those heroes, all you're gonna do is take farm. And not gonna lie, you guys are probably gonna feed because those heroes require really good map awareness. And like if you take farm and feed, then you're gonna be in a bad situation. You can play them not together, and you can play them together when you get better at them. But starting off, I don't think you guys should play it together because basically those heroes you want to teleport on the map, farm, and you take a lot of farm from your team. That's just in general.
Right.
Okay.
Alright, so where are you on the timer? I'm at 3 minutes 16 paused.
I'm at 3, so I'll just get to 16.
Okay, and you Oz?
Yeah, you there now?
The battle begins.
Alright, I'm at... Oh, I didn't pause. I'm at 320.
Okay, I'll go there.
Alright. Let me know when you guys get there so I can unpause.
20.
Okay.
320?
Yep.
Alright, get on pause in 3,
320.
3, 2, 1, unpause. Okay, so Lion, good build. Might want to get a clarity, unless you're gonna go mana drain, which you probably shouldn't. But might want to get a clarity because Lion's mana spells are quite expensive. But other than that, like, you can't really say anything wrong with this item build. May get 2 clarities as well if you want to gank a bit more. Obviously, you don't want to steal Gyro's farm, so it might be useful if he gets ganked to get a couple clarities. Gyro, Stout Shield, I'm a bit iffy because Gyro's ranged and you get obviously a lot less damage block. I don't know if you're gonna upgrade it at all. Right now, you guys are just watching creeps die. I think. Alright, now you're gonna do a bit of harassing. You're up against an Axe Bounty Hunter. So obviously against a Bounty Hunter, you want to get sentries when possible, but I mean, the thing about Gyrocopter is that he does so much damage with the Rocket Barrage that you can go aggressive, but you always have to calculate that. And against a Bounty Hunter, you want to get the sentries up ASAP.
What I was trying to do here was just trying to harass the shit out of these.
Yeah, you're doing a really good job. Like,
Is it right that if you're gonna play a hard support with a carrier like Gyro, don't get any farm, just harass. Is that right?
don't get any what?
Don't try and get any last hits or any farm.
Yeah, that's usually what you want to do. So the support usually doesn't try to get last hits. If the support wants farm, he can pull, he can do stuff like that. A lot of these situations you don't want to be staying next to Gyro. Right now you don't obviously see where they are, so you might be a bit scared for your teammates saying, alright, where are they? They could be wrapping around. But you don't want to be stealing too much experience. But if the support wants farm, he can sort of just go in, try to get experience. Gyro's fucked.
Axe chops you down to size.
Yeah, I've never really watched any of my own games before. This is quite bad.
That's something you should do. I wouldn't recommend doing it like often, because I mean watching replays takes a lot of time. But like that's something you can do if you're like learning how to play a hero. So for Lion, if you want to get Mana Drain, I think you should get it at level. Actually, I don't know. Maybe level 4, so you could have 1 point in Hex, because you saw like Mana Drain does nothing when they're up close in your face. In general, with Lion, if you do get Mana Drain, you should get 1 point at 4 probably, because you probably won't be expending so much mana that you won't have 0 mana at level 3. And even now, like even with you've only cast Mana Drain twice, as you guys fell for the illusion bait. I think you guys should probably realize like it's a bounty hunter. He's probably gonna go invisible. So, you know, that's just a bit of mana. Yeah. But I mean, I think the best thing to do with the Lion as a support is, since you're obviously not gonna get farm, you want to have your skills maxed to SCP. Oh, he's just tanking that Mana Drain, getting so much mana. Best thing for Lion as support is to just get clarities, as I'm not too sure what you're doing. You're charging right into his face. It's kind of scary.
That was a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now in this situation where you're battle hungered, you want to take a last hit, say fuck Gyro.
So if you take a last hit...
Take a last hit to dispel the battle hunger.
Right, okay. I didn't know that.
Gyro, you're using Rocket Barrage to last hit creeps. You should not be doing this. Like, you're pushing the lane.
Yeah, I think X was... Yeah.
You're pushing the lane? No, like you've done this a couple of times now. You're pushing the lane, you're using your mana, which you could be using to like harass down this bounty hunter. I think this bounty hunter probably realizes that. He knows that you can't harass him back. And now you're out of mana. You can't use like missile. Now this is a good build to go, 2 missile, 2 flak. Like, but I'm not sure it's the best build to go if you're dueling. And you can see, you literally can't do anything against bounty hunter because you have no rockets. So you're kind of bailed out by Lion. So good job by Lion being there in position. But this is a decent build. Usually most people get 1 point of missile by level 4 and then just max the other 2 spells first because missile is not very reliable. And nice job getting a sentry ward. You're gonna kill this bounty hunter? No, not in position. Nice job. Yeah. I have a feeling that you haven't played Gyrocopter very much.
Nah, trying to.
Yeah, he's a fun hero, but he's definitely he's kind of hard because he has very low damage, but he has a really quick attack point, so you can really time your animations. And his spells required to all be up close in your face, but he's very squishy. So he's a bit tricky. So I can sort of understand why you're having a bit of difficulty, but in general, like, you know, if you're gonna play him more, then these are things you should probably know. So right now for Lion, like, you're doing a really good job. You're placing sentries. You got the flying courier. One thing you could be doing, since Gyrocopter went with max or getting 2 points in the flak, is Gyrocopter could be auto-attacking the wave down or pushing it out, and Lion could be pulling and stacking, so Lion could get experience. Gyrocopter could get solo experience. Lion could get some last hits as well. So every game that I've seen of you guys haven't pulled. I mean, only 2 games have you guys lain with each other, but you guys haven't pulled in stack. So, I mean, you can practice that if you're going to dual lane a lot with each other in the future.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, Lion, you're doing a good job. Actually, your skill build, you should max the Earth Spike. Not get the second point Hex.
Yeah.
Because Hex is so expensive in terms of mana. But you guys are going to own him? Okay, good job. One thing you...
And this is when Night Stalker comes. I completely forgot about him.
I didn't even know there was a Night Stalker. I was just like, oh shit. I was gonna like go into this whole...
Night Stalker quite a bit, and...
Oh, Night Stalker is like... Night Stalker is like my second favorite here in the game. It's just so ridiculously fun.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Your teammates didn't call a miss. So I guess in this situation, you always should have map awareness.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's another hero mid anyway. It's Skarath. Like, I mean,
It's
the
also my
teammate.
mistake though. I mean, I should have had a ward somewhere on the left of the forest there, so that I could have seen.
You could have. You could have. You don't really have gold. You finished the magic one first. I don't know if that's the best idea because they're not really spamming spells on the bottom lane. Bounty Hunter. Well, he's spamming Windwalk and you're getting battle hungered. But magic wand first is usually not the best lane choice. Axe is running back into the call down. Not sure why. But good recognition right there. One thing, I was going to mention this. In a lane like this where you have 2 spellcasters, it might be good to get a Basilius.
Yep.
And I think that's what actually you're going to go for, Lion.
I don't know. Let's see.
But yeah, I mean, Magic Wand first is good in some matchups. I don't think it's good in this matchup, so that's something you can keep in mind.
Yep.
I think Phase Boots is probably the right build here for Gyro. Poor Man Shield on range heroes is definitely a lot less effective, but it can also help you to last it because you get the extra bit of damage, so it really depends. On melee heroes, if you're into double range, I don't... Like, it's difficult to say. I don't think it was probably the best choice in this lane, but in Gyrocopter it's okay in some situations, but if you look at the range damage block, it's halved, and Gyrocopter doesn't have much HP to begin with, so if they want to kill you, they will kill you. And right now that is a pretty expensive item, that's almost like 500 gold. So that's just something to keep in mind, but I think Phase Boots is the right call in this game against Track and Night Stalker. You could get Treads to tank up, but having that escape ability is definitely very useful as well, so it's good. But yeah, right now when there's nobody in the lane and you're both level 7, like, Lion should be stacking pulling, because Lion does want experience and farm, like, eventually, because his finger has such a long cooldown level 1, and you obviously want to level it up, and now you're going to get owned by Night Stalker. That sucks. Ooh. Oh, dang. You guys got him. Got him, coach. Oh, double kill.
Nope, you got me.
All a trap. All a traps. That was all tactical. That was all tactical. That's what I'm gonna make it sound like. Nice tactical feed, mine. So you get Gyrocopter double kill and experience. Really well played. Nice job setting it up. Nice job baiting. That was just magnificent play. But yeah, I mean, that was unfortunate. But you still made the best of a bad situation.
Yeah.
One thing that Gyrocopter could be doing is ferrying himself Clarities, because Gyrocopter needs mana. And sometimes for Gyrocopter, you might want to get Treads. You're using spells quite a bit, but Phase Boots is definitely okay. But now, because you don't have any mana, you have to play it very defensively. I like the build you're going to go for anyway. You did get 1 point of missile, getting that flat cannon. So I think Gyrocopter, for the most part, is doing pretty solidly. Again, PMS is questionable against a dual melee when you're getting the reduced damage block. But if you're having trouble lasting, the extra damage can definitely help quite a bit. Lion has Tranquil Boots, Sentries.
What do you normally recommend?
For Gyro?
Sorry, I think there's a bit of that. Yeah, just starting off.
Starting
like
items.
starting builds.
If you pick him a random mim, I think if you... I'd go for a Wraithbane into Aquila, because you want the mana regen. So with the starting gold, you get maybe 2 slippers or 1 slipper, get some branches, or a ring of protection, and I think you probably, I don't think you might need a clarity. Alright, let me just think. You want a slipper. Well, I just gestured so my headset fell off. Sorry. Alright, you want 1 slipper, 115 or 150. You want some branches. You want a style of tangos. And you could do with the clarity, and that leaves you a bit of gold. So if you want to replace one of the branches with a ring of protection, I think the best build for gyrocopter in a low level game is probably Ring of Aquila, because you get mana regen, you get a bit of extra base damage, and you don't have to always go back to base. And you can see, like, without mana regen, you literally can't even hit the Night Stalker. Like, you would have died anyway, but at least you would have forced Night Stalker to maybe go back to base. Or use one of his 9 iron charges.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, this game is not going well for you guys.
By some miracle, we still win this game, I think, don't we? Did we win this?
Yeah.
I think we did, didn't we?
Yeah, I think I got lucky with some.
I think something came right
some
eventually.
kills, yeah.
Yeah.
I like what you're doing here. You're gonna get the Asha. I mean, Shadowblade is a good item, but you're up against a bounty hunter, and I mean, it's not always the most reliable thing. When they already have Ricky, so you probably will get dust anyway. Lion caught in an unfortunate situation. Sentries is good. I can see, like, you're really sort of struggling to realize what you can do with Lion, because, like, where you're supposed to farm, you don't obviously want to jack the carries farm, but, like, you don't really know what to do to get items, money for wards and shit like that. So I can feel for you right here.
Yeah.
Like, you're having a difficult time. But I think one of the best ways to do that is to stack and pull that bottom safe lane camp, which you guys did not do. So that could give you a lot of extra farm. So just keep that in mind when you're supporting with the Lion.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Again, Lion is a hero who wants experience, so I can sort of sympathize with that. But I like that you're getting sentries and stuff like that. Oh my god, you guys getting crushed. Yeah, you guys. Oh no.
Where are we now, mid?
You guys are getting demolished. That's unfortunate. Zap the bounty. Oh, you're gonna get the Skywrath anyway. Alright, that's gonna give you some gold. We'll see what you do with it. Probably should get some wards. They're ganking quite a bit. We'll see if you get wards. I mean, in pub games, like, oftentimes you can do without wards, but all of their heroes can gank, so you definitely need wards. And I mean, like, getting wards is such, like, a stereotypical critique, saying, like, oh, get wards, then you won't get ganked. But, I mean, in this game, and you're gonna get the wards anyway, so good recognition.
Yeah.
And it looks like you're getting mech.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, every time I play support, in pubs at least, I find that, you know, I'll always build mech.
It's interesting, because Lion uses a lot of mana, and mech does cost 150, 175 mana, so...
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe in this game. I think we'll probably see in a couple engagements that you'll cast Finger and Voodoo and Earthspike, and then you realize I don't have enough mana for mech. I feel like that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Dire's bottom tower is under
But that just depends on the
Do you
sport.
think it's also, yeah. Do you think that it's
Dire's bottom tower
wrong
has fallen.
for a support to have
Dire's
tranquils
top
and
tower
mech?
is under attack.
Can you do without tranquils if you're gonna get mech?
Yeah, you can... I don't think it's wrong. Like, no item combination is ever wrong. But for Lion, I think he really needs Arcane Boots. Like, all of his spells, maxed for Voodoo or Hex is 200 mana. Finger of Death at level 2 is 420 mana, as you can see. And right now you have a base mana pool of 740. So you can only get 2 of those spells off. Otherwise, you can't really cast anything without a couple of charges on the Magic Stick. And you're getting mech on top of that, like, you're not going to have any mana. So, every item is good, but in this game, like, Lion is such a mana-dependent support, and who needs experience as well. Arcane Boots might have been the better call. So, that's just something to keep in mind.
Right. Yeah.
Tip of the horn to you.
Mag. This mag doesn't know he has a bottle. Oh, he has a bottle. He's going in. He's going in. Alright. Well, drop. Alright. I just kind of want to see. Wow. I was expecting the goal graph to be like terrible because like none of you guys have items, but actually they haven't farmed either. They're just farming you guys, so it's not that big of a deal. You're actually out farming them.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So just in general for carries, always want to carry a TP because even when you already teleport to a lane, you should just carry a TP so you can teleport to a safer lane. Because right now you're staying in no man's land. Like you can't obviously push out to that wave, and you're wasting time by running back between both lanes and trying to sort of pick up that farm. And by the time you get to this top lane gyrocopter, then the lane's already pushed out a bit more, and now they can probably expose you to gank. Of course, it's difficult when there's more than one carry, but I mean, it's something you should recognize. You should always have at least one backup TP as a carry, even as a support, so it can come in if they're ganking your carry. But it's a little bit more difficult when they've killed some towers. But as a carry, when you're behind, you have to have teleports to teleport to the safest area possible. So, like right now, that would be bottom lane, because you have a ward there, even though there's a Night Stalker bounty hunter. Well, maybe not, but if they weren't there, you had a ward there, wave is pushed to your tower, so you can feel free to farm there if there was a Night Stalker and bounty hunter there, obviously. But, one for Yasha. Are you going meta or SNY?
Radiant's bottom tower
I was going to go into Shadowblade, and yeah, and I think I tend to then go into Monkey King buff.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Bad idea?
I mean, it's good, but you have 800 HP at level 10. Like, you're just gonna die. If you get tracked, you're dead. So, it's a difficult balance you have to tread, because they actually have a lot of burst damage. Skyath is all burst. Bounty Hunter, Night Stalker have a lot of burst. The Axe can just destroy you. So, it depends on the situation again. And Shadowblade in this game might not be the best idea. I don't think these guys have gotten... No, Night Stalker is a gem. Oh man, Night Stalker knows how to sort of play Dota. Alright, so... Like, again, in this situation, you have to see Bounty Hunter, alright, track over, reveal me, and Shadowblade. They're gonna have a gem on Night Stalker. Maybe I shouldn't get Shadowblade. Or if I do get Shadowblade, maybe I should cover it by getting an Ogre Club and then go back into Shadowblade so I at least have a bit more HP. So if I do get ganked, I can survive long enough so somebody can teleport in and bail my ass out.
Okay.
So right now you guys are in lane, so you should probably just be farming neutrals. It's annoying because Drow is taking a lot of neutrals, but it's really not that safe for you guys. It's about to hit second night. This is very important for Night Stalker. You should keep it always an eye out for the clock time, as you are gonna get wrecked. No, Lion, really good impale. Oh, that was a really good fight. That was a really good impale into RP, or Earth Spike. It was called impale in Dota 1. And then Mana Varian is terrible.